The unknown has always been a source of unease for human beings. We are creatures of habit, seeking patterns and predictability in our lives. When things go as expected, we feel secure. But when life presents us with uncertainty, our minds often react with worry, fear, or doubt. Why is this? At the root of our discomfort is the desire for stability. We want to know what will happen next, to have a clear path ahead. When the future is unclear, we feel as if we are walking in the dark. Our minds race to fill in the gaps, often imagining worst-case scenarios. We become restless, trying to solve problems that may not even exist yet. But consider this: the unknown is not necessarily dangerous. It is simply something we have not yet encountered or understood. A closed door might hide something frightening, or it might lead to a beautiful garden. Until we open it, we cannot know. Yet too often we let our fears control us. Instead of stepping forward, we hesitate. Instead of embracing possibility, we resist. The unknown is a natural part of life. From the moment we are born, we enter a world filled with uncertainty. No one can predict exactly how their life will unfold. And yet, life continues, moment by moment. The sun rises each morning without needing our permission. The seasons change without asking for our approval. Life moves forward, regardless of our fears. Rather than seeing the unknown as a threat, we can begin to see it as an opportunity. It is a reminder that we do not have to control everything. It invites us to be open, to trust that not knowing is part of the experience. When we stop fighting uncertainty and allow ourselves to be present with it, we may find that it is not as frightening as we once believed. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The water stretches far beyond what you can see. If you focus only on the distance, you may feel small, even overwhelmed. But if you look at the waves gently touching the shore, you see movement, rhythm, and life. The unknown is like that ocean. It may seem endless, but it is full of possibility. What if, instead of fearing the unknown, we learn to stand calmly at its edge? What if we embraced it, knowing that each moment carries something new? Fear is a natural response to the unknown. When we face uncertainty, our minds instinctively search for threats, trying to protect us from harm. This reaction is deeply rooted in our survival instincts. In ancient times, uncertainty often meant danger, a hidden predator, an unstable environment, an unknown path. Even though our lives have changed, our minds still respond to uncertainty in the same way. But not all fear is necessary. While fear can protect us in real danger, it can also trap us when the threat is only imagined. We fear what we do not understand. We fear what we cannot predict. When faced with uncertainty, our minds create stories to explain it. Often, these stories are filled with worst-case scenarios. What if things go wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose what I have? These thoughts grow in our minds like vines, wrapping around our peace and pulling us into anxiety. But what if we look at fear differently? Fear is not the enemy. It is simply a messenger, telling us that we are stepping into the unknown. When we feel fear, we do not have to run from it or push it away. Instead, we can observe it. We can acknowledge it without letting it take control. Imagine standing in a dark room. At first, you feel uneasy because you cannot see what is there. But as your eyes adjust, you start to make out shapes, and the fear begins to fade. The unknown is like that dark room. The more we allow ourselves to be present with it, the less frightening it becomes. Our minds often mistake uncertainty for danger, but in truth, uncertainty is simply a space of possibility. Think about the first time you tried something new, perhaps a new skill, a new place, or a new experience. There may have been fear at first, but as you stepped forward, the fear lessened. The unknown became familiar. This is the nature of fear. It appears large at first, but when faced with awareness, it often softens. So when fear arises, we do not need to fight it. We do not need to let it control us. Instead, we can take a deep breath and remind ourselves, fear is only a feeling. It is not the future. It is not reality. It is simply the mind's way of reacting to what it does not yet understand. Many of our fears about the unknown come from a deep desire to control our lives. We want to shape our future, protect ourselves from suffering, and ensure that everything goes according to plan. We believe that if we can control the outcome, we will feel safe. But control is often an illusion. No matter how much we plan, unexpected things happen. A sudden illness, a change in relationships, a shift in the world. These things remind us that life does not always follow our expectations. The more we try to control everything, the more frustration we experience. When life does not unfold as we hoped, we feel anxious, disappointed, even lost. Think about a river. It flows naturally, following the shape of the land. If we try to force the river to move in a straight line, blocking its natural curves, we will struggle. The water will push back, find new ways to flow, and eventually break through any barriers we create. Life is like that river. It moves in ways we cannot always predict. Trying to control it completely is like trying to hold water in our hands. It slips through our fingers, no matter how tightly we grasp. This does not mean we should stop making efforts or having goals. It simply means we must recognize the limits of our control. We can plant seeds, but we cannot force them to grow. We can do our best, but we cannot guarantee results. When we accept this, we begin to release the tension of always trying to control what is beyond our reach. Instead of clinging to control, we can shift our focus to how we respond. Life will bring uncertainty, but we can choose to meet it with openness rather than resistance. We can learn to trust that, even in uncertainty, there is a natural flow to life, one that does not always need our interference. Imagine standing in a strong wind. If you fight against it, you will exhaust yourself. But if you let yourself move with it, you find a sense of ease. Life is the same. When we stop trying to control everything, we create space for peace. The unknown will always be part of life. But when we let go of the illusion of control, we find something deeper, the ability to move with life, rather than against it. Life is unpredictable. At times, it feels like we are caught in a storm. Uncertainty, change, and difficulties swirl around us, making it hard to find our footing. When faced with chaos, our first instinct is often to resist, to struggle against it, to try to regain control. But the more we fight the storm, the more exhausted we become. Stillness is not the absence of chaos. It is the ability to remain calm even when everything around us is uncertain. Imagine a tree in a strong wind. Its branches sway, its leaves shake, but its roots remain deep in the earth. No matter how much the wind blows, the tree stands. In the same way, we can learn to remain steady, even when life feels unstable. How do we find stillness? It begins with attention. Often, when we are overwhelmed, our minds jump between worries, thinking about the future, replaying the past, imagining endless possibilities. But when we bring our attention back to the present moment, we step out of that cycle. We stop feeding the chaos with our thoughts, and we return to what is here, right now. Take a moment to notice your breath. Feel the air as it moves in and out. The breath is always present, always steady, no matter what happens around you. It does not demand control. It simply flows. In the same way, when we shift our attention to the present, we find a space of calm within us, one that does not depend on the outside world. Another way to find stillness is through acceptance. Chaos often feels overwhelming because we resist it. We want things to be different. We wish for certainty, and we struggle against what we cannot change. But when we stop resisting, something shifts. Instead of fighting the storm, we learn to stand in it with quiet strength. Think of the ocean. The surface may be rough, waves crashing in every direction, but deep beneath, the water is still. That stillness exists within us too. It is not found by changing the world around us, but by learning to rest in what is already here. Life will always have storms. The unknown will come and go. But if we learn to find stillness within ourselves, we will not be shaken by every wave. Instead, we will stand like the deep-rooted tree, steady and unshaken, no matter what winds may blow. Much of our suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from our resistance to it. When life takes an unexpected turn, our minds often fight against reality. This should not be happening. I wish things were different. Why me? These thoughts create tension, making difficult moments even harder to bear. But what if we approached life differently? What if instead of resisting, we learned to accept? Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean we stop caring or stop trying. It simply means we stop arguing with what is. When we accept reality as it is, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Think about a river flowing downstream. If we fight against the current, we struggle. The water pushes against us, and we exhaust ourselves trying to swim upstream. But if we allow ourselves to move with the water, we find ease. The river carries us forward, without resistance. Life is like that river. It is always moving, always changing. When we resist it, we suffer. When we accept it, we flow. This does not mean we must agree with everything that happens. Some moments in life are painful. Some bring loss, disappointment, or uncertainty. But when we stop fighting against reality, we allow ourselves to face it with clarity. We stop wasting energy on wishing things were different, and instead focus on what we can do in this moment. Acceptance is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to say, "This is how things are right now." It takes wisdom to recognize that some things are beyond our control. But when we do, we discover something powerful: peace. Imagine standing in the rain. If you resist, wishing for the sun, you only create frustration. But if you accept the rain, something shifts. You feel the cool drops on your skin. You hear the sound of water touching the earth. The rain is still there, but the suffering is gone. Life will always bring the unexpected. The unknown will always be part of our journey. But when we embrace acceptance, we learn to move through life with greater ease. We stop struggling against the current, and instead, we trust that the river knows the way. In moments of uncertainty, we often feel the urge to act quickly, to find immediate solutions, to remove discomfort as soon as possible. We want answers now. We want clarity now. But life does not always move at the pace we desire. Some things take time to unfold. Some answers come only after we have waited in the unknown. Patience is not just about waiting. It is about how we wait. When we are impatient, we fill the waiting time with anxiety, frustration, and restlessness. We keep checking the clock, hoping things will change faster. But impatience does not speed up life. It only makes the present moment more difficult to bear. Think of a seed planted in the earth. No matter how much we want it to grow quickly, we cannot force it to sprout before its time. We can water it, care for it, and give it sunlight, but we must also wait. If we dig it up every day to check its progress, we may destroy it before it even has a chance to grow. Life is like that seed. Some things take time: healing, understanding, change. When we try to rush them, we only create stress for ourselves. But when we trust the natural timing of life, we find patience. We learn to allow things to unfold without forcing them. Patience is a quiet strength. It teaches us to be present with what is, rather than constantly reaching for what comes next. It helps us see that not everything needs to be solved right away. Sometimes, the unknown must simply be experienced. Imagine watching a river after a storm. The water is muddy and unclear. If we try to stir it, hoping to make it clear again, we only create more disturbance. But if we wait, if we allow time to pass, the dirt settles, and the water becomes clear on its own. Our minds are the same. When faced with uncertainty, instead of rushing to fix everything, we can choose patience. We can trust that, in time, clarity will come. We do not have to force it. We only need to wait, with openness and trust. The unknown is not something to fear. It is simply a space where life has not yet revealed its answers. And when we meet it with patience, we find that we do not need all the answers right away. We only need to be here now and allow life to unfold as it is meant to. When we face the unknown, our minds often pull us into the future. We imagine different outcomes, hoping to prepare ourselves for every possibility. But the future is not here yet. It exists only in our thoughts. The only place we can truly be is in the present moment. Yet trusting the present can feel difficult. We believe that if we stop thinking ahead, we will be unprepared. We fear that without constant planning, we might make mistakes or miss opportunities. But in reality, the present moment is the only place where life actually happens. The past is gone. The future has not yet come. What we do now, in this moment, is what truly shapes our lives. Think of walking through a dense fog. If you try to see far ahead, everything looks unclear. But if you focus on the step right in front of you, you can move forward with confidence. Life is the same. The whole path may not be visible, but if we trust the step we are taking now, we will always find our way. Trusting the present does not mean ignoring the future. It means understanding that the best way to prepare for the future is to be fully engaged in this moment. When we give our attention to now, rather than getting lost in worry, we make better decisions. We respond with greater clarity. We move through uncertainty with greater ease. Consider a bird resting on a branch. It does not worry about whether the branch will break. It trusts its ability to fly. In the same way, when we trust the present moment, we realize that we do not need to control everything ahead of us. We simply need to meet each moment as it comes, knowing that we will handle whatever arises. Trust is not about knowing what will happen. It is about knowing that, whatever happens, we will be okay. When we stop fearing the unknown and start trusting the present, we find a new kind of freedom. One that does not depend on certainty, but on our ability to be fully alive in each moment. The unknown will always be there, just beyond what we can see. But instead of fearing it, we can trust that this moment is enough. We can take each step with confidence, knowing that life will meet us wherever we are. Much of our suffering comes from clinging to specific outcomes. We set expectations for how life should unfold. And when reality does not match those expectations, we feel disappointment, frustration, or even despair. We believe that happiness depends on things going a certain way. But when we attach ourselves too tightly to results, we create unnecessary pain. Detachment does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we give up or become indifferent. It means we let go of rigid expectations and open ourselves to whatever life brings. It means we do our best, but we do not tie our peace of mind to the results. Think of a fisherman casting a net into the sea. He hopes to catch fish, but he does not control the ocean. If he expects a full net every time, he will suffer when the catch is small. But if he simply casts his net with patience and trust, he remains peaceful regardless of what comes. In the same way, we can give our efforts to life without demanding a specific outcome. Detachment brings freedom. When we let go of the need for things to happen in a certain way, we become lighter. We stop fearing failure because we no longer define ourselves by success. We stop resisting change because we are not attached to things staying the same. We stop worrying about the future because we understand that life will unfold as it must. Consider a tree in autumn. Its leaves turn golden, then fall to the ground. The tree does not try to hold on to them. It does not resist the coming of winter. It simply lets go, trusting that spring will bring new growth. If we learn to let go like the tree, we too can move through life with ease, accepting each season as it comes. This does not mean we should not have goals, dreams, or desires. It simply means we should hold them lightly. We can work toward what we hope for, but we do not need to be controlled by the outcome. When we detach, we discover a deeper kind of peace, one that is not tied to success or failure, gain or loss, certainty or uncertainty. The unknown will always be a part of life. But when we release our grip on outcomes, we find something greater. The ability to walk through life with an open heart, unburdened and free. Change is one of the few certainties in life. Everything around us is in a state of constant movement. Seasons shift, people grow, circumstances evolve. Yet when change arrives in our own lives, we often resist it. We cling to what is familiar, even when holding on causes us pain. Why do we fear change? Because it reminds us that we are not in control. It pulls us from the comfort of what we know and places us in the unknown. Even when change brings something good, it can still feel unsettling. Our minds prefer stability, so when life shifts unexpectedly, we feel unsteady. But resisting change does not stop it from happening. The more we struggle against it, the more suffering we create. Instead of fighting the current, what if we learn to move with it? What if, instead of fearing change, we welcomed it with grace? Imagine a river meeting a large rock in its path. It does not stop. It does not fight against the obstacle. It simply flows around it, finding a new way forward. Life asks us to do the same. When change comes, we can choose to remain stuck in fear, or we can soften, adapt, and trust that a new path will emerge. Facing change with grace begins with acceptance. It means recognizing that change is not the enemy. It is simply life unfolding. Even when change brings loss, there's also space for growth. A fallen tree in the forest makes way for new life. A closed door leads us toward another path. When we stop fearing change, we begin to see its wisdom. It also means learning to trust ourselves. Often we fear that we will not be able to handle what comes next. But if we look back at our lives, we see that we have already faced many changes, and we have survived them all. Each challenge has made us stronger, wiser, more capable. The same will be true for whatever change is ahead. Life will continue to shift, with or without our permission. But when we meet change with openness, we transform uncertainty into possibility. We stop seeing change as something to endure, and instead, we embrace it as a natural part of our journey. Change is not an end. It is a beginning. And when we step forward with grace, we find that every change, no matter how unexpected, carries with it the seeds of something new. Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully we plan, we will encounter difficulties, losses, and moments of uncertainty. But what determines how we move through these challenges is not the absence of struggle. It is our ability to rise again after we fall. This is resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It is about how we respond when hardship comes. Some people face difficulties and become overwhelmed, while others move through them with strength and clarity. What makes the difference? It is not that one person experiences less pain than the other. It is that one has learned to bend without breaking, like a bamboo tree in the wind. The first step in cultivating resilience is recognizing that struggle is not failure. We often think that being strong means never falling, never feeling lost, never facing doubt. But true strength is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about learning how to stand back up. If we expect life to always be smooth, we will be disappointed. But if we accept that challenges are part of the journey, we will not be shaken when they arise. Think of the ocean. Some days, the waves are calm and gentle. Other days, they are strong and wild. But beneath the surface, the ocean remains deep and steady. Resilience is like that depth. It does not mean we do not feel the waves of life. It means we do not let them pull us under. Another key to resilience is adaptability. When things do not go as planned, we can choose to resist or to adjust. Resistance creates suffering, but adaptability creates strength. Life will not always unfold the way we expect, but if we remain flexible, we can find new paths, new solutions, and new ways forward. Resilience also comes from trusting ourselves. Often, when we face the unknown, we doubt our ability to handle it. We fear that we are not strong enough, not capable enough. But if we look at our past, we see that we have already survived many challenges. We have already adapted, learned, and grown. The same strength that carried us before is still within us now. Life will continue to bring both joy and hardship, certainty and uncertainty. But when we cultivate resilience, we are no longer afraid of what may come. We know that whatever happens, we will meet it with strength. We will bend, but we will not break. And no matter how many times we fall, we will rise again. In a world filled with uncertainty, we often look for answers in complexity. We believe that if we gather more information, analyze more possibilities, and plan more carefully, we will find security. But sometimes, clarity is not found in doing more. It is found in simplifying. Simplicity does not mean lacking depth. It means seeing what is essential and letting go of what is unnecessary. When we simplify our minds, our actions, and our expectations, we create space for peace. We stop trying to control everything, and instead, we focus on what truly matters. Think of a glass of muddy water. If we keep stirring it, the water remains cloudy, but if we let it sit, the dirt settles, and the water becomes clear. Our minds are the same. When we fill them with constant thoughts, worries, and distractions, life feels confusing. But when we let things settle, we begin to see with greater clarity. Simplicity can be practiced in many ways. It might mean letting go of the need to have all the answers right now. It might mean focusing on one step at a time, rather than overwhelming ourselves with everything at once. It might mean appreciating what we already have, rather than always chasing something more. Imagine walking through a quiet forest. There is no rush, no need to be anywhere else. You hear the wind moving through the trees, the soft sounds of life around you. In this moment, there is nothing to fix, nothing to change. This is the wisdom of simplicity. It reminds us that peace is not found in endless searching. It is found in being fully present, right where we are. We often believe that happiness comes from adding more success, more knowledge, more control. But true peace often comes from removing what is unnecessary. When we let go of distractions, we discover what has been here all along. The simple, quiet beauty of life as it is. The unknown will always be part of our journey. But when we meet it with simplicity, we realize that we do not need to complicate things to find peace. We only need to return to what is essential. This moment, this breath, this life, just as it is. Finding peace in an uncertain world is not about escaping difficulties or avoiding challenges. It is about how we choose to walk through life. Serenity is not something given to us when everything is perfect. It is something we cultivate from within, regardless of what is happening around us. The path to serenity begins with understanding that peace is not found outside of us. Many people spend their lives searching for the perfect conditions, thinking that once they have more stability, success, or security, they will finally feel at ease. But life is always changing. If our peace depends on circumstances, it will always be fragile. True serenity is not about controlling the world. It is about how we respond to it. Imagine a candle in a dark room. The world outside may be filled with noise, uncertainty, and change, but the flame remains steady. This is the nature of inner peace. It is not about the absence of storms, but about finding a calm center within them. How do we walk this path? It begins with awareness. So often, we live on autopilot, reacting to situations without reflection. But when we become aware of our thoughts, our emotions, and our reactions, we gain the ability to choose. Instead of being carried away by worry, we can pause. Instead of being consumed by fear, we can take a breath. This simple act of awareness creates space for serenity to grow. Another step on this path is trust. When we stop fearing uncertainty and start trusting life, we begin to move with greater ease. Trust does not mean we know exactly what will happen. It means we accept that we do not need to know. It means we understand that we have the strength to face whatever comes. Serenity also comes from letting go of unnecessary worries, of rigid expectations, of the need to control everything. When we release what we cannot change, we make room for peace. We realize that we do not have to carry the weight of the world. The path of serenity is not a distant destination. It is a way of being, available to us in every moment. It is in the way we breathe, the way we respond, the way we meet life with openness instead of resistance. Uncertainty will always exist. The unknown will always be there. But when we learn to walk with serenity, we discover that we do not need certainty to be at peace. We only need to be present, step by step, trusting that the path will unfold before us. Life is filled with uncertainty. No matter how much we plan, no matter how much we prepare, the future remains unknown. At times, this can feel unsettling. We long for certainty, for clear answers, for a sense of control. But the truth is, we do not need to know everything ahead of us to find peace. Throughout this journey, we have explored ways to meet the unknown with a steady heart. We have seen that fear is not the enemy. It is simply the mind's reaction to uncertainty. We have recognized that control is often an illusion, and that true strength comes from our ability to adapt. We have learned that stillness is not found by stopping the chaos of the world, but by discovering a quiet center within ourselves. We have reflected on the power of acceptance, how suffering often arises not from what happens to us, but from our resistance to it. We have understood that patience allows us to wait with trust rather than with frustration. We have embraced the present moment, knowing that it is the only place where life truly happens. And we have explored the freedom that comes from letting go, of rigid expectations, of attachment to outcomes, of the need to control what is beyond our reach. In the face of change, we have found grace. In times of difficulty, we have seen the strength of resilience. And in simplicity, we have uncovered the wisdom that was always there, waiting beneath the noise of the world. Serenity is not something far away. It is not something we must chase. It is already within us, waiting to be recognized. As you move forward, know that uncertainty will always be part of the path. There will be moments of doubt, moments of challenge, moments when you feel lost. But remember this: you have already faced the unknown countless times before. You have already walked through change, through difficulty, through moments of not knowing, and you are still here, stronger, wiser, more capable than you once believed. You do not need to fear the unknown. You do not need to solve every mystery ahead of time. All you need to do is take the next step with an open heart. Life will continue to unfold, moment by moment. And as long as you walk forward with trust, with presence, with a quiet confidence that whatever comes, you will meet it with grace, you will always find your way. The unknown is not something to be conquered. It is not an enemy to be defeated. It is simply part of the natural flow of life. We may never fully understand what lies ahead, but we do not need to. What matters is how we meet each moment, how we walk through life, with openness, with trust, with a steady heart. There will always be times of uncertainty, moments when the path is unclear. But peace is not found in knowing all the answers. It is found in the quiet confidence that, whatever comes, we will face it with grace. It is found in the acceptance that life does not always move according to our plans, but that does not mean it is moving in the wrong direction. The ocean stretches beyond what we can see, yet we do not fear its vastness. The night sky is filled with endless space, yet we do not demand to know every star. In the same way, we can learn to live with the unknown, not as something to fear, but as something to embrace. Thank you for being here, for sharing this time, for reflecting on these thoughts together. If you have found meaning in these words, I am grateful. Your support, whether through a kind comment, a like, subscribing to this channel, or even offering a super thanks, is deeply appreciated. More than anything, I hope that these reflections bring you a sense of calm, a moment of stillness in the midst of life's uncertainties. May you continue forward with peace. May you meet the unknown not with fear, but with a quiet strength. And may you always remember that no matter where the path leads, you have within you everything you need to walk it.